think most of us start out thinking that more notes equals better blues. I definitely did. After all, my formative guitar years were spent chasing Metallica and Megadeth tunes, and those guys have been known to use a note or two. But here's the thing, the best blues players seem to know exactly when not to play. They use space to create groove and let the music breathe. In this lesson, I'll show you how to make your blues groove say more by playing less. You'll learn exactly when to leave space and where to add just the right amount of flash. Let's dig in. Confession time. When I write examples for these lessons, the final version usually has a lot less in it than what I started with. For me, taking things out usually makes the part better. It's natural to want to fill every moment with sound, but when we play constantly, we lose space and we often lose the chance to create a real groove. Let's use this as our starting point. The familiar back and forth blues pattern played with a shuffle rhythm. And what we're going to do is strip away those eighth notes in between the main beats and just play on the quarter note pulse, still playing with our back and forth. 1, 2, 3, 4. So now we've stripped away some of the busyness that occurs in the middle, which is great, but sometimes we need to let it breathe. And what we're going to do from here is switch our fingering. Instead of just playing it like I'm doing here with the index finger on the 5th string, 2nd fret, and then up to the 4th fret with the ring finger, let's play when we go to the 2nd fret. Even though we're not going to play it all, it's going to come in handy later, let's switch to playing the E major chord. And when we play at the 4th fret, let's do this. Play that just like we did before, skip over the 4th string and put the index finger down on the 2nd. Just get in place here. And if you strum through, you can hear that extra little bit of harmony on the 3rd string coming through, and that's okay. It sounds pretty good, right? So all of a sudden, we've got a little something extra happening here. And speaking of something extra, there's one more tweak that we're going to make here at the end of the measure. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1. What's happening there is on the and of 4, as I'm transitioning back to my E for the top of the next measure, I'm plucking the open 1st string and I'm coming down into that E major shape. That's why we have this fretted up on the fretboard. It sets this up really nicely. And we've gone from this to this. We still have the same rhythmic backbone here, but we're playing less and giving ourselves some more space. Taking away notes can actually add to the groove. It sounds strange, but it works. And while that's true, we don't want to strip everything away. We got to add just the right amount of flash. Now that we have some breathing room in our playing, let's fill in a few of the gaps. We're guitar players after all, and we just have to add a little bit of flash at times. But keep this in mind, we don't have to get complicated. Sometimes a simple idea will do the trick. Let's revisit our stripped down blues groove from earlier. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1. Now what we're going to do is drop into beat 3 the same way that we drop into beat 1, which is that hammer on into the beat. So, and 1, 2, and 3, 4, and 1, 2, and 3, 4. But this is about taking things away and making this groove, and we're going to accomplish that just after beat 3. Just after we drop in, we're going to strum up through the top 3 strings, 2 strings, that'll work too. And then for beat 4, we're coming down, almost mimicking a snare drum here and just dropping our hand on the strings, not playing a note, but getting that percussive snapping sound. And when we put that together, we'll have this. And 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2, and 3, and 4. A little slower. Here's another idea for a way that we can have a little fun right at the end and keep the progression moving, keep the groove going. So what I'm doing is at the end of the measure, I'm adding this little bass tag, which is the 3rd fret on the 6th string, the G note, and then the open 4th, and then hammering onto that 2nd fret of the 4th. But as I do, I'm getting back into my E shape. Right? So a little slower, here's what we have with that little bass tag added. Here's what's cool, that well-placed little chord stab and even the snappy bass tag push the groove forward. Use these ideas occasionally though, because if you play them in every bar, they're going to lose their punch, they're going to lose their impact. Remember, we need to control the groove and keep a certain amount of space. But there's definitely moments in blues chord progressions where you might want to do the opposite and really dig in rhythmically. If there's one spot in the blues where we can break our less is more approach, it's right before the chord change. This is where we can create some forward momentum and really push into that next chord. Let's use the 2 bars leading up to a chord change to build some momentum. So 2 bars of repeating our main groove that we've established, but now I want to build the momentum, and I'm going to do it rhythmically just by repeating our move. Right? Leaving less space. We're going to fill in some of those gaps and increase the intensity just by playing a little bit more, right? We're strategically adding something back here. And then on the measure just before the chord change, we're going to build some momentum melodically by moving up with this move chromatically up the fretboard. Now, this comes from the E chord shape that we've been playing the whole time. I'm just dropping my ring finger here because we don't need it. You can leave it there if you want, but what I'm going to do is hammer on just like we've been doing before, from the open 3rd to the 1st fret 3rd, and then adding that nice open 1st string on top before climbing up. And you can change the rhythm, the picking, whatever you want here as you climb up. You can even climb up and pinch as you go. Here's what I like, that adds a little bit of rhythm as I slide into that final spot here at the 5th and 4th frets. And that sets us up nicely for beat 4, which I'm just going to drop down and play that percussive move before dropping into my A groove. Building with rhythm and then with melody. A little slower. See how that builds momentum? We push the groove into the next chord, and that gives our rhythm direction. But once you're there, the game starts all over again. We settle into the new chord, we give it the space it deserves, and we dial in just the right amount of flash. Let me put all this together in a quick example. For my BGI members, I've got a new course coming that takes these rhythm ideas and combines them with some fancier fingerpicking moves. It's going to be challenging, but it's going to be a lot of fun. You can join us using the link below. Earlier, I mentioned that adding just a little bit of flash can go a long way. But the thing is, having a solid grasp on the fundamentals of fingerpicking is what makes all of this possible. So grab my free fingerpicking quick start guide to learn essential picking techniques that will help you add just the right amount of flash to your blues. Click right here to get instant access. And until then, practice smart and play on.